The United States is updating its visa application rules. From now on, consular officers will take chronic medical conditions into account as a possible ground for refusal. What does this mean in practice? Who may face difficulties? And most importantly, how can you prepare to increase your chances of obtaining a US visa or green card? You're watching Visa Den. My name is Mia, and on this channel, we make immigration, visas, residence permits, and citizenship clear, structured, and achievable. Let's take a closer look at what has changed and who will be affected. Here is a fact many people find surprising. Even obesity can now be considered as a risk factor when applying for a US visa. The key change comes from a new directive issued by the US Department of State. It instructs visa officers to take the applicant's chronic medical conditions into account. This primarily applies to immigrant visas, meaning applications for permanent residence, including the green card. So, which medical conditions matter? The guidance specifically mentions cardiovascular diseases, respiratory conditions, cancer, diabetes, obesity, neurological disorders, mental health conditions, and other illnesses that require long-term or expensive treatment. Why does this matter? Because such conditions may imply a significant medical burden and a potential reliance on public assistance. Within the US immigration system, the public charge rule applies. This means an applicant must not be viewed as someone who could become a financial burden on the United States. There is an important nuance here. Having a medical condition is not an automatic refusal. Everything depends on context and on how well your case is prepared. Officers assess the situation as a whole. They look at how stable the condition is, whether there is a treatment plan, and prove that it is effective, whether the applicant has health insurance that covers treatment in the United States, whether income and assets are sufficient, and whether the applicant is able to work and support themselves and their family. It is also important to understand that officers consider not only the applicant's health, but also the health of dependents. This includes children and elderly parents. Their medical condition may affect the officer's assessment of the applicant's financial and employment capacity. So, what should you do if you or your family members have chronic medical conditions? The main goal is to clearly demonstrate that you will not depend on government support. When preparing your application, it is essential to gather medical reports confirming a stable condition, proof of valid health insurance, documents confirming income or assets, employment certificates or evidence of business income, and written treatment or care plans, especially if elderly parents or children are involved. If you're applying for a non-immigrant visa, such as a tourist, business, or student visa, the risks are lower. However, additional questions may still arise, especially if the stay is expected to be long. Another important update is that photographs and biometrics will become mandatory for everyone, including children under the age of 14. The United States plans to introduce a comprehensive biometric system. Photos will be taken at every border crossing, and all images from passports, visas, and databases will be combined into a single biometric profile. The goal of this system is to enhance security, prevent the use of fraudulent documents, and more effectively track movements. For the first time, absolutely all age groups will be covered, from young children to seniors over 79 years old. The rollout of this system is expected within the next 3 to 5 years. What does this all mean to you? Even small details in your application and your personal file can now influence the final decision. If you're considering applying for a US visa, whether immigrant or non-immigrant, it is especially important to take preparation seriously. The new rules make the process much more sensitive to details, and how you present yourself and your documents can directly affect the outcome. First, pay close attention to the documentation. Application forms, financial statements, income certificates, insurance policies, and medical documents must all be accurate, up-to-date, properly translated, and well-structured. Even minor inconsistencies can trigger additional checks or refusal. Second, work out your financial model in advance. The officer must clearly see that you're financially independent and able to support yourself and, if applicable, your family without relying on public assistance. This includes proof of income, bank statements, employment or business documentation, property ownership, and a clear plan for where and how you intend to live and work in the coming months or years. Third, prepare the medical part of your case carefully. If chronic conditions exist, prove medical reports, evidence of stable treatment, insurance coverage preferably valid in the United States, and information about doctors, prescriptions, and care plans. This is especially critical for immigrant visas where the public charge rule is actively applied. Your task is to convince the officer that your health will not become a burden on the US system. Strong preparation already accounts for a large part of success. And if your goal is not just to submit documents, but to obtain a visa with a high probability of approval, professional support makes a real difference. The Visa Den team helps identify weak points, package your case correctly, and build a strategy for obtaining a visa or a green card based on your individual situation. At Visa Den, we support our clients at every stage from the very first steps to the final result. Instead of spending months trying to navigate complex requirements and decide which visa is right for you, you receive a clear, personalized roadmap. We help determine whether an immigrant or a non-immigrant visa, a green card, or another status best fits your goals. Our team handles all the details. We prepare and review documentation, check medical records for compliance with the current requirements, and advise on complex issues. For those seeking minimal risk, we also offer structured, pre-approved strategies for visa processing. Your role is to provide initial information, and our role is to lead you to the result. For those just beginning their journey toward a US visa or a green card, it is important to understand that the US system is flexible and offers many pathways. The key is choosing the right strategy. If your goal is a temporary stay, such as tourism, business travel, study, or participation in international programs, non-immigrant visas are suitable. Tourist and short-term business travel is usually covered by the B1 or B2 visa. Students attending US colleges or universities apply for the F1 visa. Exchange programs, research, and internships fall under the J1 category. Employees transferred within an international company typically use the L1 visa. Highly skilled professionals may qualify for the H-1B visa, while individuals with extraordinary achievements can consider the O-1 visa. Immigrant visas, on the other hand, lead to permanent status, long-term residence, and eventually citizenship. The most common paths include family reunification, employment sponsorship by a U.S. company, and investment in the U.S. economy. There is also the diversity visa program, commonly known as the Green Card Lottery, If you're interested in why the lottery was delayed this year, we have a dedicated video on our channel that answers all related questions. Additionally, protection-based options such as an asylum or refugee status may apply in specific circumstances. Each pathway has its own conditions, timelines, and criteria. That is why at VisaDen we do not offer one-size-fits-all solutions. We build a route that aligns with your background, goals, and resources. When it comes to obtaining green card, many people think only of the lottery. In reality, there are several proven paths. These include employer sponsorship under EB2 or EB3 categories, investment through the EB5 program starting from $800,000 in approved projects, marriage to the U.S. citizen, reunification with close family members, asylum or refugee status, and extraordinary ability categories such as EB1 or an O1 visa followed by a status adjustment. At VisaDen, we analyze your profile and offer realistic workable options rather than theoretical ones. We involve attorneys, medical professionals, and certified translators when needed and guide your case all the way to approval. If you're considering relocation to the United States, applying for a visa or a green card, or if you have already faced a refusal and are unsure how to proceed, reach out to us. The VisaDen team will review your case, prepare your documentation, develop a strategy, and take the process through to a successful outcome. Thank you for watching VisaDen. Subscribe to the channel, leave your questions in the comments, and share this video with anyone who may find it helpful.